Hi, my gorgeous beauties. Now today, I wanted to bring you this look that I'm calling like my job interview or new office or big meeting interview. Basically, the kind of makeup that you would wear to a job interview, or if you were having a meeting with some new people at your current job, or if you just started a job and you just want some ideas on like appropriate makeup. Now, this is just what I like and prefer, so if you would like to do something different, please share with us. I'm sure we'd all love to hear. But basically, when it comes to a job interview, or anytime I have sort of like a new, or I'm going to a new meeting or meeting new people and I'm going to be talking a lot, there's a few things I keep in mind. One, I want to look really alert. I want to look awake, so there's no smoky eyes, there's no smoking out the lower lash line, because that can make you look like you are still wearing makeup from the night before and may make you look like you're just, you know, you want to look like you're right for the job. If you're getting a job at a Sephora or a makeup store, then by all means smoke it out till next Tuesday. But if you're going for an office job, you want to just look really put together. You want to look youthful, like you don't want to have too strong lines on the face, and I also don't like having anything that's going to make people go, what is on her face? I want people to just look at me and take me seriously, and but also I want it to look like I take care of myself and I put effort into making sure I look appropriate at all times. So that, I think that's important as well. So those are sort of the things I look for when I'm getting ready for a job interview or meeting new people. In my case, I meet new people and have meetings with new people very, very often for different projects. So this is something I go to. So I hope that you find it helpful. I hope that you find the tips helpful. If you do, please give me a thumbs up and let me know what other makeup looks you want to see in the near future. My shirt is from Target. On my nails is Essee's Topless and Barefoot, I believe. I will list everything down below. I hope that you enjoy this, and without further ado, let's get into it. Now we're going to start with the eyes first. Now I have primed my eyes using my Too Faced Shadow Insurance. I always do that. You guys know no matter what I'm putting on. And now as a base, I'm using this Milani Shadow Eyes 12-hour eyeshadow in the color Almond Cream. Now what I'm looking for is, and what I'm going for is just to look really wide awake and open, and because this is like a beautiful creamy color with no sparkles in it, it helps me achieve that. So I'm just going to put that on both of my eyelids, and then using like some sort of stiff dome brush, this is from Sonia Kashuk, I'm just going to blend this out into one thin layer. Now I'm using this Smashbox Heat Wave palette. I'm pretty sure this isn't limited edition, but I'm going to go in, well, you can use any colors sort of in this color family. I'm going to go in with this color right here, which is a beautiful matte brown, kind of like soft brown on a fluffy brush. And I'm just going to pop that into my socket or into my crease, and I'm just going to give, this is going to be basically my crease color and my transition color as well. So just buff that in. I'm going to actually add another layer of this. Now for all over the lid, I'm going to go in with this color right here. There's no colors, so I can't, I don't know what the color names are because there's no names, but this is the one right over here, which is the shade, what is this? A large shader, E60. I'm going to pop, this is a beautiful bronzy color, but because we applied a light base, it's not going to come off as dark and as intense, which is what I want. I don't want anything too dark, because when you're going for a job interview or your first few days at work and your new job or in a big meeting, when you're meeting people for the first time, you want to look awake and alert. You don't want to look like you're tired or you have still your makeup on from the night before. So I don't like to do anything too heavy. So I'm just going to use a wash of color onto my eyes, and you also don't want to do, well, I don't want to do anything that's too glittery. So I think this shadow is like perfect because it's got a nice sheen to it, but there's no sparkles. Just taking that E40 and just blending out the edges. There's nothing on it I didn't add any product. Now to just make my eye look a little bit lifted, I'm going to use a slightly darker brown, and I'm using this brown right over here, and this is from the Naturally Glamorous Quad from Revlon. So it's actually a palette on a quad. So I'm just going to take my same brush, I'm just going to dab that in there because it's pretty pigmented, so shake off the excess, and I'm going to just place this on my outer third, and you can see I'm kind of pushing up because I want to have that like sort of lifted effect. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of that in my crease as well, but I'm not going to go too dark or too heavy. I don't want this to look like a smoky eye. I want it to just look like there's a little bit of dimension. And then go back in with your E40 and blend away. Now you could leave this as is, but I'm actually going to add a little bit of liquid liner. You could add black, you could add brown, but what I don't want is to add too thick of a line or anything too drastic. I just want something small, and I do think that a little bit of a wing liner again helps with that lift of the eye. So I'm just going to use my Stila one. I'm going to make a baby wing, and I'm actually not going to come in all the way either. I'm going to stop like 3/4 of the way. Start with your wing. And then just run it in. And that is my wing. Now I haven't gone all the way in for a couple of different reasons. One, I think it's a little harsh for a job interview, and two, if you tend to get nervous like I do, or sometimes your eyes water, and if you have black liner all the way in your waterline, like all the way in your inner corner, it can kind of start to like, I don't know, like melt and get all gunky right into your inner corner. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but I'm hoping you can understand where I'm coming from. And I don't want that. I don't want to do anything that's going to make me feel nervous and stressed out. And like, I just want to walk in there feeling really confident. That's why I'm doing something that I know works and using product and techniques that have worked for me for a long time and that I continue to rely on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in with a highlighter under the brow bone. And for that, where is it? I'm going to use this creamy one from this little palette, and this is just a small eyeshadow brush from Sonia Kashuk. I'm going to pop that under the brow bone. You don't want anything too shimmery. And I'm also going to pop a little bit of that into the inner corner, again, just to give you that appearance of I'm awake, I'm alert, I'm here to learn, and I'm fit for the job. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to coat my lashes, curl my lashes, because I want to, again, just lift the eyes. So I want to look awake, guys. I want to look alert. And now I'm going to pop on a couple of coats of mascara. You can, if you want to, add some false lashes, but again, I don't want to add anything that's going to make me nervous, and then I'm afraid that I'll be in there and then hoping and then wondering if the inner corner of my eyelashes are going to fall apart, or I don't want to have to worry about any of that. So I'm going to pump up my lashes with a couple coats of my Essence I Love Extreme Mascara, and then we will be ready to do the rest of the face. Now, one more thing I want to do before we go on to the rest of the face, which this is one of my favorite parts about this makeup look, is using a flesh tone eyeliner for your inner, for your waterline. Again, this is going to make you look awake and makes your, by using a flesh tone eyeliner or even a white one, a white I think is a little bit too stark, it makes your whites of your eyes look really white. So I'm just going to take some of that and just pull gently. And I love this one. This is by Nars. And there's no actual color name on it. It just says larger than life long wear eyeliner, and that's all it says. There's no name or anything, but it's just the one that's got the like nude top. I don't even know. I don't even say. I've had this for a couple of years now. And that is it. I'm not going to do anything to the bottom of my waterline because I don't want anything to make me that drags my eye down. So this is it for the eyes, and now we're going to move on to the rest of the face. Now, for the rest of the face, make sure you are primed and make sure you are moisturized and you are ready to prime. Now, the primer I like to use that I've been using a lot is the L'Oreal Revitalift Miracle Blur. The reason why I chose this one to show you today is because I think that this is a really good one because it does blur the appearance of pores. So if you are up close to someone, this really helps kind of blur them out and makes me feel a little bit better because I know I have some large pores right over here. This is the area where I have some larger pores. So by putting some of this on there makes everything else go really smooth and definitely minimizes the appearance of pores in my opinion. Going in with my Armani Corrector in 02, want to cancel out those dark circles. I'm just going to blend that in just using my finger. For foundation, now I suggest you go with something that has a semi-matte finish. good coverage, not cake like the Kat Von D Lock-It Tattoo Foundation. I think that's too heavy and cakey. You want something that's got good medium to full coverage. You want something that's going to have a semi-matte finish, because we all get nervous on job interviews or in meetings or in a new office. It's inevitable. We all do. What I don't want is for you to wear something that's like luminous and it's got like this beautiful like glowy finish to it, because if you start to sweat, like nervous sweat, which I get, then it starts to show and my foundation starts to break up a little bit. If I wear a like luminous finish foundation and I start to get nervous and sweat, I sweat right here and I start to sweat right here, and you can see your foundation kind of breaking apart when you do that. So that's why I always use my trusty Estee Lauder Double Wear. Right now I'm going to mix together my Tawny, and this is a little sample of the color Cashew that I picked up. I do need to pick up a new one because this is so light for me, so I have to mix these two together. So I'm just going to mix a little bit of this in the back of my hand. I'm going to mix it both, a mixture of the both of them. And this foundation is also extremely long wearing, which was really, really helpful if your meeting is really far away, or if it's maybe like a training or something and you're going to be there all day long and you want to make sure that your makeup looks good from the time you start to the time you finish, and this definitely does that for me. I'm just going to apply that with my finger and then I'm going to blend it in. I'm going to use a damp beauty blender to blend this into the skin. Now, I love the beauty blender because even though this is a thicker finish foundation, I feel like it just makes it blend into your skin so perfectly. I love this beauty blender. For my concealer, I'm going to use my Estee Lauder, my Instant Age Rewind by Maybelline. It's because I know this doesn't crease. I know that this stays on for a really long time. And when you're going to go somewhere, when you're doing something that is a new, everything is sort of new, a new interview, a new meeting, new people, or whatever, I like to rely on things that I know work really well, which is why I went with my trusty Estee Lauder Double Wear, my trusty eyeliner that I know stays on for a really long time, favorite mascara, my favorite concealer. So that's just a good tip to keep in mind in general. It's kind of like when you're cooking for people, my theory anyway. When I'm cooking for someone new, I rely on recipes that I've made over and over and over and over and over again, and I know they work really well, because then the chances of something going wrong are slim to none. So same thing kind of with makeup. I'm just blending in with my beauty blender. For a little extra coverage, I'm going to go in with my Bare Minerals Well Rested powder. Now, if you have really dry under eyes, you might not like this. In fact, I don't have really dry under eyes, but I have to be careful when I use it. So I have some right on this little brush, and I'm just going to mush it around so it's not so concentrated, and then dab this under my eyes. And this really helps brighten things, and it really gives me a little extra coverage. Especially because I always have dark circles under my eyes, always have, and this really does help. And then to gently set the rest of the face, I'm using my Makeup Forever Kabuki and my Laura Mercier Translucent Powder, just because even though this is a somewhat matte finish foundation, I think just adding a little bit of finishing powder really helps with longevity and mattifies it just a little bit, because again, I just want to make sure that I'm covered in case I start sweating. By the way, show of hands for those of you who are nervous sweaters. Yeah, I sweat when I'm nervous. Hope that makes sense. I can't help myself. My mother's the same way. So, now that we have the base done, it's time to move on some color. I don't want to contour, I don't want anything sharp. Now, if you are interviewing in like a Sephora or like a makeup place, then you do it up. I mean, you put on all the makeup you want. But if you are just out of college and you're interviewing at an office for an office position or anything like that, and you want to look put together, I'm against going sort of full glam, just because it can be distracting, and I also want them to feel like I definitely take time in taking care of myself and pulling myself together for this meeting, but you know, I'm not going to spend an hour and a half getting ready every morning and be late for work, if that makes any sense. So I want to warm up my face with some bronzer, but I want to use somewhat of a natural bronzer, and this is the Beach is Waiting Bare Minerals Ready Color Boost, and the Beach is Waiting. This is just a Bare Minerals bronzer in the Sephora brush, and I'm just going to dab it in the darker side, And then just put it in places where you would contour, but just not so concentrated. For blush, I'm going to use something that makes me look alert and like youthful. I'm going to use a really pretty peachy corally blush. This is the Clinique Cheek Pop and the color is Peach Pop in my Makeup Forever brush. And this is a really pretty brush. It just gives you like a youthful cheek look. So I'm just going to pop that onto the back of the cheek and a little bit on the apple of the cheek. I'm a big fan of a little blush on the apple of the cheek as well. It just makes your cheekbones pop, and I just think that it's a pretty look. But if you're not into that, you can just pop this onto the back of the cheek. That's enough blush for me. I'm not going to go too heavy with it. And then I do want a highlighter, but I want something really, really subtle. So for that, I'm going to use an oldie but a goodie. This is my LORAC Perfectly Lit Luminous Powder in the color I have it in is Spotlight. I love this. This I think is like the perfect highlighter for more mature skin as well, because if you do have any lines right over here, this doesn't have heavy sparkle in it. This is actually a really subtle highlight. So there's no heavy sparkle. It just gives you a subtle glow. I use this for years actually. This was my favorite highlighter for years. So as you can see, it's like not strong at all, but it's just subtle enough to give you a good pop of color. Now I'm going to just set everything using my Lock and Load setting spray from Kat Von D. Fan it to get everything to set in place. And as that's set, we're going to move on to the lips. The first thing you want to do is get rid of any foundation that's on your lips, because, and this is going to be like kind of a, you might think this is gross, but I want you to be prepared, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes I've made. The worst thing you can do is have a foundation on your lips and then apply a matte or a really opaque lipstick and lip gloss on top of it, because when you start to talk for a long time, and you probably will in an interview or in a whatever, you get that really gross looking film in the inside of your lip, and I don't want you to get that, because it is the worst. I've had it happen. And also, it's something I'm really conscious about. Anytime I'm talking to people now, I make sure that the lipstick is completely off, and I put on a really natural lip balm or some sort of a lip balmy that's sort of natural, that's not going to do that. So don't touch the lipsticks, don't touch the glosses, do something really natural. That way you don't have anything to worry about. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to outline my lips lightly using my Boldly Bare from MAC. This was from a holiday edition a couple years ago. Lightly. Nothing too strong. And then what I'm going to use, and this is one of my favorite like go-to lip products. This is the Just Bitten Balm Stain from Revlon, and the color is Honey. It's really natural. You can see it doesn't, it's kind of like your lips but better. But it doesn't create that thick film. So any balmy like lip product is what I would recommend, and I always just sort of smooth it out and blend the two together. And then that's it. I don't put any lip gloss on, any matte lipstick, nothing else. This is it. So I'm going to just zoom you in so you can see the eyes. And then the cheek looks sort of natural with an inner glow look to it, and then a super, super simple looking lip. Just gonna zoom you out, and that's really it. It's really simple. Sorry, my hair is like gray, but it's really simple. You look put together, and you're not, nothing's gonna happen. If you sweat, your foundation won't come off. If you start to get like some sort of teary-eyed or something on the inner corner, your eyeliner isn't going to get all gunky. You have a subtle look to the skin, to the eyes. You still look put together. You look awake. You look alert. You look like you are ready for this position. This is the job that is meant for you. And above all else, above makeup, above what you're going to wear, just remember that walking in there with your confidence and knowing that you're up for the job is going to be the most important thing, that your confidence will definitely show through, and that's definitely something that I know a lot of companies are attracted to. If you walk in there sort of really nervous and not knowing like the job description really well, like you just want to walk in there knowing everything you need to know and just kind of be like, I got this. You know what I mean? So good luck if you are job hunting, or if you have a new, a meeting to go to and meet new people, or if you just started this job and you're just getting your feet wet and getting to know everyone. I wish you the best of luck, and let me know what you guys want to see next, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.